There is a distinct type of sound you hear when you see something run past you, a sonic boom that is formed when someone or something runs so fast that you can't even see it coming. That same someone being able to run so fast that they can travel through time, far enough to go back to the one day where they lost one of the few people that could love them unconditionally, to another so fast that they are able to roam around freely while listening to music as time has literally stopped, making them able to do anything they could possibly want, to an anthropomorphic hedgehog that can run so fast they are able to generate a form of energy that can only cause chaos energy that releases itself in shockwaves that can cause a statewide power outage. Speedsters are incredible. They are able to see the world in a way that no one else can, essentially giving them the opportunity to have everything they could possibly want, but also strip them in a way that makes them unlike everyone else. The ability to communicate their feelings, traumas, desires, and aspirations could all be done in a millisecond while their partner would take hours on end. The ability to wait until the last minute to do virtually anything and still succeed without consequence, ultimately plundering them the feeling of care, instilling in them the emotion that can cause men to become dinosaurs, apathy. But these speedsters don't just suffer from the implications of their powers, but also inconsistent writing and bad press. Writing that only demonstrates the worst use of these powers, but also the worst depiction of the characters using them. Depictions that either mischaracterize the character or get them completely wrong from the get-go, as the bad press makes the situation even worse, criticizing the characters and the use of their powers while not providing any better alternatives themselves. A move that doesn't make the situation better but can make it worse. However, there is still hope. A shiny star in the night that lights the dark. A speedster that not only has comic book accuracy in his depiction, but also flawless writing in not only character but also power. A power that not only gives us consistency, but also provides an accurate depiction of what super speed should look like. Gone are the days that Madvocate criticizes and nitpicks the clan of speedsters. Gone are the days that we see speedsters get done dirty by both the writers and inconsistency of their own powers. Today, I am issuing a new era of speedsters. That's right, the speedsters that don't just stop to talk but can also run the clock. Speedsters that use their power with common sense and not just common dunce. Speedsters that don't just look the part but can act it. Speedsters that have good writing. Yeah, I know you like that intro. You can thank this guy for giving me the inspiration for it. Now, I know you might want to have me like this for the title alone, but hear me out since communication is always a better solution than violence. But first, let me just take advantage of the time you're giving me to shout out my Twitter and Instagram, since those are looking almost as pathetic as this guy. Also, I'd like to shout out my Patreon too and talk endlessly about the videos I'll be making regarding this guy and his opinions, but more on that in the end. For this section, I could just mention his entire comic book history like this guy and go from there, but instead I'll just give you guys the Clip Notes version of it. Quicksilver's origin starts with him and his twin sister Wanda Maximoff being raised by a gypsy couple. Oh, and his name is Pietro. By their teenage years, they learned that they had superpowers, and not too long after that, they were taken under the wing of Magneto, after Wanda unintentionally caused mass destruction. Of course, being the stand-in for Malcolm X, Magneto decided to use these two as his cannon fodder against the X-Men. Oh, by the way, this is how they get their hero names. Also, this guy is their father. After that, they left this guy, joined the Avengers, and went on a ton of hijinks that will make this video longer than it should be. The point is, this guy started out as a villain, became a hero, and then might have become an anti-hero depending on which version you're looking at. But that's the comics. What about the version in the thumbnail of this video? Well, in the MCU version, he grew up with his twin sister Wanda Maximoff in the Europe version of the Hood. During their younger years, they experienced an attack that killed off their parents but left them alive because the bomb didn't go off. And yes, that Tony Stark is responsible for it. Later in their teenage years, they applied to a definitely illegal program in which they got their superpowers and were later trained to be pawns for the government. See, these guys didn't do that premise first. At the start of the movie, they both attack the Avengers and later team up with Ultron, but after witnessing the hypocrisy of their actions, they later decide to join the good guys. And in the final battle, Pietro dies to a barrage of bullets after saving both Hawkeye and a little kid. He says his classic catchphrase, and then people switch up on their opinion of who's the better Quicksilver. Also, Wanda has a mental breakdown about this. So, in short, he started off as a villain, later became a hero, and in the end he died before he could become a villain. And why am I getting the feeling of deja vu? Sorry, I couldn't help but joke about the repetition in this script. Anyways, let's get back on track. With this history aside, let me explain why I think this guy is superior to everyone else even though they can run much faster than him, starting with the adaptation of his character. Remember when I made that joke earlier about this guy having damn near the exact same origin and outcome as his comic book counterpart? Well, that was actually a surprise tool I wanted to use later. You see, adaptations are at their best when they can be faithful to the source material while also being creatively independent of it. And MCU Quicksilver is the best example of a great adaptation. He starts out as a villain with reasonable motivations and a tragic past. He ends up working for the main bad of the good guys because of a debt he has to pay or because he wants to get revenge for his deceased family. And he becomes the good guy and joins the Avengers after having a change of heart, realizing that he can use his powers for good instead of just his self-gain or revenge. And while Magneto isn't his dad and he and Wanda aren't mutants, the fundamental parts of his character are there and present, unlike some characters. Also, can I just say that even though he only got like 10 minutes of screen time, his story was probably one of the better plot points in that movie, which actually leads me to point number 2. His story arc was probably the best out of all these speedsters. He's an orphan along with his twin sister Wanda, who both survived an attack that used the same weaponry Tony Stark made. He uses his grief and anger to push himself to his limits in an experiment with the Mind Stone that gives him super speed, a superpower that, if he had when he was younger, would have helped him save his entire family before the bomb could even land in his room. And after gaining his power, he uses it not only to the benefit of the people that created him, but also to the people of Sokovia, as shown in one of the deleted scenes when he's giving items that he stole to people that actually need them. Even after joining Ultron and trying to stop the Avengers and kill Tony Stark, Pietro doesn't lose the qualities that make him a hero, as after Wanda realizes what Ultron's gonna do to humanity, he joins Captain America and later the rest of the Avengers in trying to stop Ultron from wiping out mankind. And after hours of non-stop running and fighting robots, he witnesses Hawkeye and a child about to be killed with a Gatling gun, and just like with his sister, he acts. He saves Hawkeye and the child at the cost of his own life, dying as a man, brother, and a hero. And now that I think about it, I should seriously consider screenwriting. Maybe then I'll be able to single-handedly fix the trash that we've been getting lately. Moving on, let me get to the third and final point of why he's better than these guys. And that's the consistency of his power. Or more specifically, the fact that his power has absolutely no plot holes whatsoever. Yeah, you heard me right. A character that has super speed has no plot holes at all in any of the scenes where they use their powers. Well, I didn't think I could get someone to expose themselves for not paying attention to the movie, but I guess I can now mark that off my imaginary bucket list. Because if you actually paid attention to the movie, or at least acts 2 and 3, you'd know that this comment right here is way more uninformed than they think, or disingenuous. Quicksilver didn't just die from a barrage of bullets. Quicksilver died to a barrage of bullets because he was moving a fully grown man and a child after running essentially for the entirety of the final battle. Also, we really just gonna ignore the fact that he was fighting literal robots? I mean, yeah, he has super speed, but that doesn't always equal super strength, unless you, I don't know, run faster. And remember, that takes a lot of energy and stamina. And let's not forget what was shown to us during the subway train fight in Act 2.
I'm fine. I just need to take a minute.
Did you get it?
Quicksilver's main weakness was shown to be his stamina, and it's clearly the reason why he couldn't do more in this final scene. I mean, seriously, the dude was running so fast he could destroy fucking robots. And while it's not vibranium, it's also not simply glass. Hell, no wonder this guy had to take a breather during the final act. He was constantly running, picking up various individuals, and fighting the robots all at once. And since his stamina is his weakness, it's more obvious why he actually died to bullets. And it's a better reason than other speedsters getting hurt for lesser things. Also, let's not forget he did this.
Under attack! Clear the city! Now! Get off your asses.
Okay, now that I've glazed this man senselessly, it's time I explain why he wins the gauntlet. Now, to save for time, I'm only using one of the points I made earlier for each speedster, starting with Fox's Quicksilver. And just for my sake, I'll refer to him as Peter and MCU's Quicksilver as Pietro. Despite the obvious praise Peter gets for being Fox's Quicksilver, he is by far one of the worst adaptations I have ever seen of the character. He comes off more like a Sonic adaptation than anything else. Yes, he has the mutant backstory, and yes, he has Magneto as his father, but he lacks everything else that made Pietro Quicksilver. He lacks the fundamental basics of what his adaptation should have had, and instead only has the bare minimum in comic book accuracy, with some clip-worthy moments that made him win the popular vote out of the two. By the way, Quicksilver's not supposed to go that fast.
Radio waves and light waves literally go at the same pace, around at about 300 million meters per second in the vacuum of space. So literally, Quicksilver is faster than light, people. It is a thing. He is not this slow speedster, which I don't know how you can make a slow speedster, but he is not this low-level speedster that people try to make him out to be. He literally is faster than light itself.
Also, Pietro actually looks like Quicksilver. Miller's Flash is next, and Pietro beats him in storytelling, no doubt. Granted, this point is more subjective than the other two, as anyone can judge a story differently, but in my non-humble opinion, Pietro's story is infinitely better than Ezra Miller's Flash, whether you look at the Snyder version or the Whedon version. But since I'm fair, let's just go over the Snyder version since people enjoy that one more. Miller's Flash has a pretty simple story arc of trying to get by as both Barry Allen and the Flash while his father's in jail. By the end of the movie, Barry lands a job at the FBI as a forensicist and makes his father proud. This Flash's entire story arc can be summed up in he wants justice for his father, but his father wants him to live his own life, which is a pretty touching story arc, especially when you're fatherless. But let's be real here. If I had to compare the impact of these two story arcs, it would look more like this. And that's because Miller's story arc is not as impactful. I mean, yeah, losing your mother and having your father behind a cell when you know he didn't do it kinda sucks. And not really having a stable job while being a superhero can add to that. It's not as strong as losing both of your parents, going into an illegal program that gives you superpowers, technically using those powers for the good of your people, joining the enemy team, redeeming yourself, and dying a hero. I mean, seriously, you've got me choosing between Jax and Daniel from every which way and then questioning my choice. Although, since I'm fair, I'll showcase one scene of Pietro that counters my argument so that the comments can have a field day with it.
What? You didn't see that coming?
And as for Gustin's Flash, he most definitely loses to Pietro in terms of power consistency. And even though I would like to stretch this video by another minute or two explaining why, I think I'll just play these clips and show a couple of screenshots to prove my point. I'll also link all 4 of Madvocate's videos.
He does it at the end of the episode, for fuck's sake. Oh, so you can speed react to a bullet getting shot at you, but you couldn't react to this punch clearly about to get thrown at you. Okay. Oh great. This idiot knows this is poison gas, and yet he just stands there and stares at it as it moves closer to his nostrils. Don't stop to talk, don't stop to talk, don't stop to talk, don't stop to talk.
Looking for this?
Fuck you, you insufferable brain-dead moron!
I know, Zoom said you're here to kill me. Good news. You don't have to do that.
Not if I can get out of town with that cash.
And then what? Zoom's not gonna like that you ditched Zoom, right? My friends and I can help you.
Or did you protect me from Zoom?
Alright, why don't we take it down a lumen, have a normal conversation, alright? I don't understand.
This was a mistake.
I am going to kill someone.
All this could have been avoided if you just stopped Light instead of chit-chatting with her.
Oh my god.
He said it! He said it!
Oh my god. Thank you.
So, mirrors, windows, it sounds like he can travel through anything that has a reflective surface.
Okay, now that it's been established that Barry and the whole gang know their next target is someone who can easily escape through reflective surfaces, Barry should immediately apprehend him since it's really easy to find reflective surfaces, especially inside of buildings. I mean, if he's not going to KO Scudder or relocate him to Star Labs, the least he could do is move him away from reflective surfaces.
You're gonna be okay. But you won't.
Dude can react fast enough to stop a bullet from entering his neck, but couldn't react to getting grabbed and break himself free.
I see her.
She's getting away in a Prius.
Last time I checked, the Flash is faster than a Prius.
You could see the car from many miles away, considering you're still running at super speed when you saw it, but you couldn't see the barrel spilling a ton of marbles and run around it.
Okay.
You were also going to run past this poor man you definitely saw slam the ground if you could see the car, instead of making sure he's okay.
Dick move.
What the hell?
Now that I've explained why my opinion is more right than yours, I think it's time I announce a couple of things. And yes, this is going to be a segment in my videos from now on. First up, if this video pissed you off, then you might as well subscribe and turn your notifications on, because my next video will absolutely make you hate me. Second, I know I skipped over this girl, but let's be real here. I was not going to watch this movie or anything related to it, and neither were you. Real quick, if y'all enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe so that I can flex on the hoes and the haters. Also, follow my socials so that you'll know when I post a new video. And if you really enjoy my content, then consider checking out my Patreon, where I give weekly behind the scene updates, as well as an archive for all my videos. Plus, if you subscribe to the hardway tier, then you also get your name featured on the end credits, as well as early access to the first 2 minutes of all my videos, which also included this one.